Why, hello there, it's your gentleman, Sir Richard Cackington III, and today, guys, wow, we have a brand new Warlock Exotic just added to Destiny 2 with the launch of Season of the Haunted, aka Season 17, and do you guys remember the fusion rifle meta that we had during Season of the Lost? Well, this exotic might just bring it back, and so let's get started. So it is dropping from the current available Lost sector. Obviously, when it is a legs day and you have a Warlock, go in there solo and hopefully RNG will be on your side and you can get it. Now, what exactly does this thing do? Well, its unique perk is Soaring Fusilier, which says air dodge reloads all of your weapons and improves the airborne effectiveness of fusion rifles and linear fusion rifles. But this is where things get crazy. Final blows with these weapons make you radiant. So, Radiant is a new keyword introduced with Solar 3.0, and if there's some veteran players watching, you guys remember Empowered, like an empowered melee that the Warlock used to have? It's kind of the same thing. Radiant is going to give you a 25% damage buff with all your weaponry. So, basically, get a kill with any fusion rifle or linear fusion rifle, and you get around 10-ish seconds of a 25% damage buff. Oh, and by the way, it resets every single time you just get another kill. So in PvE, you are basically saying that you're going to have this buff throughout the entire activity of whatever you're doing. Nightmare Containment, a strike, gambit, whatever. Get used to 25% increased weapon damage all the time. And something else to keep in mind is, although you need a linear or a fusion to start the Radiant buff, once you're Radiant, it doesn't care which weapon you're using. So you can get a kill with a fusion rifle, switch to, oh, I don't know, your Galahorn, and get that 25% Radiant damage buff for that. So yeah, that's important to know. But guys, whenever new exotic armor is added to Destiny 2, ya boy is there with a build designed to abuse the absolute crap out of it and push it to its limits. So in this case, with the Rain of Fire, we are running a Dawnblade Warlock. Now I am using Well just for PvE. I have Incinerator Snap because I like it frankly. I also have Solar Grenade. That's going to be combined with Touch of Flame. That really makes it quite powerful, but you really need to use Icarus Dash. This is that air dodge that the exotic perk of this armor piece talks about. And although it's not involved in making you become radiant, which is obviously the key, most powerful feature we're focusing on, being able to dodge and instantly reload all of your weapons, like you're gonna see me do it a reasonable amount in the background gameplay, it was very easy to do and it really did help in a lot of scenarios. Now keep in mind you could ditch Touch of Flame and go with Heat Rises if you really want to build around the increased airborne effectiveness, especially for PvP. Now as for the fragments, I think the most important one is Ember of Solace. This is going to make your Radiant buff just last longer, obviously super important. I then have Ember of Torches, another way to become Radiant. I then have Ember of Blistering, and lastly Ember of Searing. Again, these are really up to you, except for that first one, I think that's pretty much required. Now as for the weaponry, guys, what brings this build together is the Vex Mythoclast. If you have access to this thing, and if you don't worry, the build will still work, just use whatever your best fusion rifle is, but this thing, being a primary that counts as a fusion rifle, just pops off so hard with the Rain of Fire. So, actually, the Vex Mythoclast itself has a catalyst that grants a damage increase. Turns out, guys, as you can see, this stacks with Radiant. So, I get a kill with a different fusion, become Radiant, do 2,600 damage for a body shot, then with the damage buff active, 3,000 plus damage. So that is super saucy. When everything is activated, you are getting so much extra damage out of this Vex Mythoclast. Like this primary is turning into the DPS of a special very darn fast. Now, we're combining that with the Deliverance Vow of the Disciple raid fusion. Because it's stasis, it can go in that kinetic slot, and it used to be the only one until just this season. The new Crucible Riptide fusion rifle is also stasis, so you can use that in place of this easily. But I do have what I think is the PvE god roll here with Demolitionist plus Chill Clip. Chill Clip is so good. 2 shots will freeze even a boss. Fantastic. And then we're backing that up with a Cataclysmic, and this has the 4th times the charm roll, which you do want and has battery with, and then bait and switch for just the highest DPS you can get out of a linear fusion. And then taking a look at the armor and the mods, whew, we got some saucy stuff here. So what we're actually doing here is using quick charge, and this is going to let us become charged with light by rapidly defeating multiple combatants with fusion rifles. As you can imagine, with a Vex Mythic class that's juiced to the gills with damage, that's not hard to do. So then you are constantly becoming charged with light, and we're using high energy fire. Turns out, high energy fire stacks with radiant. As you can see right here, guys, I'm just using the Cataclysmic body shot damage against red bars. Base 17,000, almost 18,000. With the Radiant buff, 22,000 damage. That's a 25% increase. But then when I combined Radiant and High Energy Fire, they stack multiplicatively, and it turns out I get 26, almost 27,000 damage, which is 50% more damage than the base 17,000 I did. So as you can see, things get carried away really quickly. We have Radiant, we have the Vex Mythoclast damage increase, and now we have a High Energy Fire. Again, you're able to just abuse the crap out of these damage increases and melt through enemies. And don't think High Energy Fire is just kind of a nice thing that we have that's going to trigger every once in a while with your Vex. What I found myself often doing is getting a couple kills with the Vex, getting charged with light, and then I stop shooting the red bars and I switch to my Cataclysmic, my Deliverance, and I keep that high energy fire damage buff, but I'm shooting a big boss, a big yellow bar, so I get that huge damage increase when I'm taking down those big guys. Now, as for the rest of the build, for PvE, I am running an Elemental Ordnance just for super easy solar wells of light. Same with Elemental Armaments, of course. Vex and Cataclysmic being solar, I'm going to produce solar wells from that. And then I have a Well of Life. This is really good. Frankly, this is like the best payoff in the entire game for producing solar elemental wells. But you can also run this thing in PvP, and as you're going to see from some background gameplay, even a simple trash PvE main like myself, I was able to make this thing work because guess what? Adding a crap ton of damage to the Vex Mythoclast, which is already pretty good in the Crucible, it just makes it absolutely juiced to the gills. So simply replace all of the elemental well mods with stuff like fusion rifle targeting and all that crap, and you're frankly good to go. Oh, and obviously put on a PvP-focused Deliverance role. So, at the end of the day, what these new exotics do is add a substantial degree of power to your arsenal if you are running linear fusion rifles and fusion rifles. The thing is, both of which are in a very good spot right now for both PvE and PvP. Some of the best weapons in the entire game for, PvE DPS, even raid boss DPS phases are linear fusions. You're telling me I only have to get one single kill on, for example, one Shadow Thrall in the Rahulk final boss phase for Vow of the Disciple, then I get 13 seconds of 25% increased damage. That is very reasonable to do, right? And stuff like Nightmare Containment, you're able to be radiant for literally the entire darn encounter, it feels like. So this is really an interesting aspect in build crafting, and because of this exotic, the power of all those good linear and fusion god rolls just went up even higher. Definitely something worth going after in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found this interesting, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.